All right, my name is Dharm Sidhu, but I'm also called Mila. I'm a naturopathic doctor here in Vancouver, British Columbia. And I'd like to share some of my ideas about some brand new ideas that are 5 years old for me, exploring about the true cause of illness and what it's like to be a practitioner, developing these ideas and using these ideas to work with patients. So this workshop is good for anyone that is a practitioner. You could be a therapist, you could be a helper, you could be a medical practitioner, whatever your field is. If you're in a position of having to care for somebody, it could even be you caring for family members, but you are in that role a caretaker. So I'm sharing some ideas that you could use as a practitioner, as well as having some compassion for how terribly skewed it is right now, which then creates a lot of stress for practitioners. Like it's basically creating a no-win zone for practitioners and how debilitating it is for us. I was looking at Dr. Pamela Wibble's work. She's an MD, W-I-B-L-E. I think she's spent 10 years now investigating and exposing the high rate of suicide among MDs in North America. And she said, and she's got some stats, that out of all professions, MDs have the highest suicide rates, and MD students have the highest suicide rates. And what she's trying to expose is that is the system, the medical system, the training system, and the corporate system that is destroying the doctors. And then you put into it why the medical system is the way it is, the addictions, the emotional addictions of the medical system, and the addictions of the people demanding care, and how it all comes together and create a perfect storm. And practitioners are literally dying from it. And now we have COVID. So yes, practitioners are actually dying in the role of giving care. So that's a very high price to pay. And I like to share some of the things that I've learned as a practitioner. So it all came about when I went back to school 2001 onward until 2010. I already had some almost a decade experience of working in social services. So I already had a lot of experience of the family dynamics and society and how we create certain dynamics and how it affects the family unit and children and adults. And then you add in medicine. And I had a childhood that had a lot of trauma and a father that was autistic. So I really had a lot of interest in brain development, in psychiatry. And so put it all together, and I was very intensely focused on the true cause of illness. And anything I learned in the school, even though naturopathic medicine, I feel, has the most comprehensive approach and goes pretty deep into identifying the cause of illness, I still wasn't satisfied. Something was still missing. And in 2014, I was already practicing naturopathic medicine for 4 years. I was trying to find the connection between debt and forgiveness. It was a spiritual concept I came across somewhere. So I'm trying to investigate, I'm trying to look for books, I'm trying to look for resources, and I came across a lecture transcript by Mary and Jesus from divinetruth.com, where they were discussing forgiveness and repentance. And I just read that one transcript, and that was it. I knew that this was the work I was looking for, including for my work as a practitioner. So August 2014, now it's March 2021. And be careful what you wish for. You may just get it, because it is very, very difficult and painful and torturous. I'm still looking through what I'm denying, my addictions, still going through uncovering just how bad it really is and how bad of a damage I need to clean up. So I'm still doing that bit and trying to figure out the truth as I go. But no matter what, it's never crossed my mind to quit. And so my belief, my passion right now for the rest of my life is in discovering how to practice medicine in harmony with God's laws. What does that even mean? In my opinion, God is the ultimate scientist. Everything God does is very scientific, very mathematical. I don't see a division between intuition and science. To me, they come together perfectly. And everything I do, I try to ground it into science. It's got to make sense to me. However, a lot of the ideas I'm exploring, we don't yet have the tools to investigate. How do you measure the amount of emotion in somebody? How do you measure how much the emotion has caused the damage? How much emotion did you release, which you can then tell exactly how much repair or improvement you're going to have in your health. All those things are possible, but I don't think it's discovered yet. So we're going to need some biophysicists out there and mathematicians getting excited about this. And the basis of my idea is that under every illnesses that we have, injuries, even accidents, there's some unreleased emotions trapped in the soul that's causing the illness. And I've spent 6 years so far with myself, my friends, my family, looking at the correlation between the illness they have, the emotion they release, and the changes that come with it. All while staying within my modality of practicing naturopathic medicine, giving the herbs, giving the supplements, lifestyle changes, doing the lab tests, doing the referral, having them on prescription medicine, encouraging people to take prescription medicine when required, having procedure, having surgery. I am all for using every services available while you work through the emotional causes. So that's the journey. And I want to share what I've learned so far. And also to start to have a dialogue on how difficult it is for practitioners. It is an incredibly difficult thing to do, to try to incorporate all of these ideas. And yet, if you don't, you're miserable. You're empty, you get sicker, you get blamed, it's just, we'll talk about what it's like for practitioners. You're all here and you can share all the different ways that you are a caretaker, what it's like, and why it's not working. And then we can go from there. And according to Pamela Wibble, no, I think I was looking at webmd.com, there is a doctor attempting suicide, completed or not, every single day in the US. Every single day. And it is, I think it's 20 to 45 people per 100,000 in US or North America. So it's very, very high. Like it's, I think they include nurses in that as well, in that stats. But if you look up Pamela Wibble's work, in the time that she has started to actually count all the suicides, which was probably 10 years ago, she's got over 1,500 names and stories and pictures and what school they were going to. And I really admire her passion for really exposing what's going on. Brave woman. Okay, so what do you feel? What have you experienced your clients are expecting from you? Or what do you feel people are expecting from healthcare practitioners? Casey?
Not so much anymore from my clients. For those of you that don't know, I'm a shiatsu therapist and I practice other types of body work like craniosacral and lymph drainage. It's taken me a long time to get to this point with my clients and also a lot of emotional work as well. But in the beginning, a lot of people just wanted me to fix them. They wanted to like, I guess, kind of have a miracle on the table where whatever they had was instantly gone.
Yeah.
And I actually got more frustrated when there were times when whatever I did gently actually did help them feel better and they thought that it was gone. And then I'd get a call 3 days later, it's back again.
Yeah. Like, and you're getting blame, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So again, that doesn't happen as much anymore. Yeah. And I've also kind of, I guess, developed different boundaries around clients like that as well. Like I'll almost outright say I'm not the right practitioner for you if that's what
Yeah.
you're looking for.
Nice. It takes a lot of courage and a lot of addictions you got to stop before you get
Oh
to,
yeah.
yeah.
And sometimes I still feel the fear of not having money,
Yeah.
like it's almost like but that's money flying away.
Yeah, that's it. That's
Yeah.
one of some of our addictions are going to be insecurity. Absolutely. What was it like for you back then when you were doing that? What was your health like back then?
Again, a little bit of background for the other people on the call. So about the same time that or maybe shortly after I graduated and started working, I found Mila, and I was sick all the time.
Yeah.
All the time. I had issues with my period. I was getting flu, fever, headaches, migraines, you name it. I had it. I think I was also about a year into my practice. I was starting to get hives every 2 or 3 months. Do you remember that? Yeah. And they were like aggressive hives. So there was a lot going on with my body that I was denying. And I'm so happy that pretty much all of those issues are gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there is a correlation with the burden
Yeah.
that the demand placed on you in,
Yeah. Yeah, I felt guilty. Especially if a parent was asking me to help their child.
Yeah.
I felt so guilty, like there was something wrong with me, or I didn't do the right technique, or there was all the self-attack and self-judgment that would then come after that. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Michael, you are a nurse from US. Holy smokes, you're a prime candidate. You're going to have to unmute yourself. Do you want to share some of your experiences, what it was like?
Well, nursing is my second career, and I got into it to be a more caring person. Um, and presently I'm been a caretaker for my parents for about the past year. They're 88 and 90, and both use a walker and different problems. So I'm not really putting myself on the line. I try to do well in hospitals or wherever I'm working, and I just keep divine truth separate from that.
Of course.
And what I run into here at the house is the expectation is to kind of take the pain away and to be patient and to put up with childlike behavior.
Yeah.
And I feel anger and impatience more than I knew I had come up in relation to that. So it's not that I'm teaching divine truth principles, because this audience is not interested in that.
No.
But I use it try to use it for myself.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you are, if you have your own practice, you have a little bit more freedom of kind of establishing what you're doing. But if you're a nurse, you're working in a setting, there's a lot of other rules and expectations you're expected to follow. But I like what you said there. One is take pain away, which is what Casey said, make it better. And two is you have to put up with childlike behavior. That's the expectation. We're supposed to put up with very kind of demanding tantrumy behavior because they're not well. They don't want to hear the truth about why. And whatever we do is not going to work. It's not going to work unless we just numb it. But then there's consequence of numbing over time. The body keeps breaking down. And then they're angry because their addictions are not getting met. So then we're expected to absorb it, to take it. And that is definitely, what's the toll on you? You already said that you're feeling quite angry. What was it like in the hospital setting?
Oh, it was too busy. I bounced out of there.
Yeah.
It was too much responsibility.
Yeah.
Too much to know. I was a person that wanted to take time to learn things and get them, but in that environment, it's a sink or swim. And you learn fast or you burn out, I guess.
And the learning is just rote. You can't even let it sink in where you really understand it. You're supposed to just intellectually pick it up and regurgitate it. Just act like
My one of my first days out of nursing school. So I got my license in 2004. And I was right out of nursing school. I was in the med surg unit of a small hospital, and somebody needed a foot bandage, and I thought, oh wow, I get a chance to do something loving for somebody. But my preceptor was waiting outside the room, and I was criticized for taking too long.
Wow.
And so right there, I realized there's a big difference.
Wow. Because there is a difference between serving and meeting a demand. Yeah, which is a system.
And another example would be, I was in the mental health unit. I had to transfer at one point. I was in mental health, behavioral health, for people that were talking, were crazy.
Yeah.
And we had to follow the doctor's model. Nothing that I actually agreed with some of the things that
Right.
people talk. Some of them had guardian angels or spirit friends that helped them.
Right.
And I had to follow the doctor's model, doctor's instruction, and treat everything with medicine.
Yeah.
So I thought it was an opportunity to help, but it turned out to not be. It was more of a shutdown.
Yeah. So, okay. So in the typical medical system, we have to shut down our nature and we have to shut down our gifts. Because one of the things that I'm exploring here is that we all have unique gifts. We all have unique personalities. And that as we pick our modality and how we want to, which modality we pick to practice our caring, as we start to express our true nature and express our gift, something very unique is going to come out of it, something that doesn't exist right now. And it's a beautiful fit for that particular group of people that are drawn to you to serve. And when you're in that place, it's very, very fulfilling. And you feel good and you're able to step back and receive our guides who are helping us, which means we got to be very humble. And it's very remarkable to be able to just get that little something. And I know a lot of practitioners, that feeling where you feel something, you hear something, you just know something. Well, that's coming from our guides, because what we're doing is very precious. We're helping people that are suffering. God wants to care for people who are suffering. And so we have a lot of beautiful guides trying to help us to help them. But we need to be in our emotions. We need to be in our gifts. We need to be in our nature. And like you just said, Michael, it just gets shut down. So how are you going to be able to receive support and feel supported and feel that beautiful feeling of something coming through you to help the other, which is so beautiful, where you know that it's not you, you don't get to get any validation over it, but you get to see something beautiful happen to the person receiving it. It's quite remarkable. And that's how satisfying and how fulfilling it can be to be a practitioner. It's an honor to do it. So you can see why we're like burnt out. And what a loss that they lost you, Michael. Like you had to leave. Like yeah.
That's part of the challenge, is dealing with the disappointment and the pressure, and there's a lot of negativity.
Yeah.
That comes, a lot of stress. I'll just say stress.
Absolutely.
It's different from actually caring for someone. It's being able to show up and do the job and have a good attitude. So that wears on you.
Absolutely.
Here at home, I'm living with my folks where I grew up.
Yeah.
So all of my childhood is around me.
Okay.
And it's 24/7, and my father's up every couple hours at night to pee, and I help him in the bathroom. And so my sleep is interrupted.
Wow.
I have a couple hours during the day, but generally I'm here to help their lives.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's me.
And that's a beautiful gift to give.
I feel some fulfillment in that.
Yeah.
I'm getting to see them, maybe not necessarily as they are, but as people that I haven't really known them, and I'm developing a relationship with both of my parents, even if they are childish and there's a word for not being with the program. I forget what it is right now. Non-compliant.
Yes, non-compliance. Oh boy, that's a demand word right there. We got to think about it. Oh gosh.
Just try to be manipulative in a loving way, if there is such a thing.
Yeah, no. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And Selena, you worked in healthcare. You used to do the blood analysis, and now you're actually caring for seniors for palliative.
Yeah,
care.
caregiving. Yeah, I was really contemplating that question. I think for me, it's interesting how much you can feel how badly they need love. They're little children, and they're really not getting love, and they really don't know how to get it anymore, because what they're projecting constantly is judgment and anxiety and fear and anger, like all the time sometimes. Like it's and for me to stay in a loving place without, because I really noticed lately, I've got one client, she's just such a sweet lady, but her anxiety is increasing. So I spend a large part of my visit just calming her down in the same areas, constantly, the same areas of anxiety. They're always the same. And, because they get to the point where they really shouldn't be even alone at all, in a sense, because of
years are kicking in there.
Because their brain just goes, woo. So I spent a lot of time in my job just doing that, and one of the things with COVID that I really have missed that is so effective is hugging.
Yes.
Just some physical, that just kind of, then they can breathe a little bit.
Yeah.
Just that feeling that somebody, because they can't really connect so much with your loving, like they don't really feel how much love, because their anxiety is so high. Exactly. They can't feel how loving you're being in a sense that, like I always think, boy, when you pass and you look back on what happened here, you must go, wow, that person was so nice to me, and I was being such a jerk.
Yeah.
But they don't really know.
They have a lot of those feelings.
Yeah, they're gonna have a lot of those. And
but what's it like for you to receive so much anxiety coming at you all the time?
I get tired. Yeah. I'm finding with this one client, I only see her once a week, and I have quite a few duties. I mean, if that's all I had to do when I was there is just comfort her, make her feel good, that'd be great.
Yes.
But the family has expectations, so we don't just provide companionship. We have to provide, and I have to keep on top of all of it, that her meds are always up to date and all of that, right? Wow. Like things around the home, because her family lives far and they count on me to make sure everything's being accounted for. So I can't allow her to distract me, but she follows me around and constantly distracts and talks, and she's so lovely. Okay. She's a lovely human, but she has a lot of anxiety. So we have to discuss her medications every time, that she's not going to run out, and every time we have to discuss it, there's enough gift cards for groceries. So when I get groceries, there's enough. We spend, and she also does it with her daughter on the phone as well. Spends a lot of time, and they try to get me, show her the gift cards. And it doesn't matter. Her dementia is so advanced. She's going to have, and you can really see how the dementia, the injuries in their life play into. I had one client that was so difficult that I just finally had to give up. I said, I can't be with this woman anymore. Yes. You guys got it. I need some help. And I got spirit help. Like her dad helped me. Her guide helped me. They helped me.
Absolutely.
Like, huge. Like I'd say, look, I've got to do this one little thing so that she doesn't know, like I'm doing it. And she'd have a nap, and I'd go upstairs and I do my little thing that I needed to do to care for her, because if she saw me doing it, she'd freak out. Because why are you doing that? I don't need that done.
And what's interesting is that is the amount of fear we all have our whole lives. But by the end of our lives, our body's finally broken down, our facades are gone. That fear is now finally palpable. Yeah. And you can start to work through it, hopefully. Most of us continue to live in it, which is why processing fear is huge, has a huge impact on. But then, Selena, you have some amount of autonomy because you are going to someone's home. You have some amount of freedom compared to Michael, who was in a hospital setting where you feel more restricted.
Oh, yeah. I've had clients where I've actually been able to, like with their families, when they were going through a health crisis, to talk to them about the spirit guidance that I was getting about the process for their treatment, to give them some peace of mind. no, don't give her a feeding tube. No, don't no, if she passes, it's okay. That's the guy. And they were so relieved that I was telling them what spirits were telling me about her. And it all turned out great. She recovered, and amazing, she did. But it was really quite the experience, but it really gave me a lot of faith in how much help I'm getting with my clients.
I'm beginning to notice some palliative patients or their families are beginning to reach out now, because they need somebody that can comfortably, but not too obviously, bridge the two realms, so that you can kind of speak with the spirit, with the person that's passing, with the spirit, because the body's breaking down, and kind of speak with the family. It's a beautiful service to provide that link. Because by that point, no matter how objective you think you are, you'll listen.
And that's what I really love about my job, because I feel I'm a big part of that process, because it's sort of like their last, usually we come in because they simply have to have support at home, because their mental and physical deterioration is that bad, and they're just barely hanging on to their familiar patterns. And that's what's keeping them from not burning the house down, or, doing crazy things.
There are many times that I'm thinking palliative care is probably where I'm going to end up doing a lot of work, because finally the facades are down, the pretension is down, the family also in a place. And as Michael is noticing, the people that's passing have let something go, and you can actually feel them now. They're real people. Like, that is what it takes to drop your facades. And you get to have a real connection. And until then, you're just fighting them. So many that I'm like, just like, oh my God. Why
I love it when we get
you on your behalf.
I love it when if I'm with a client for a long time, like a couple of years, and they get closer and closer to the end. And the stuff they start talking to me about, like, I have clients that talk to me about stuff they never talked about their families. Like, that's why I know their guides are, the connections there. I can feel that, because I've had families blown away. She talked to you about her dad, like her dad was taken by the Germans when she was 7. The Russians, because they were Germans living in the Ukraine. So they got all the German people, and then they moved back to Germany, and they killed her father. And they said she never talks about, and she talked to me about it like every day. Every day about her grief about her dad.
Well, what I've noticed is that if a practitioner is not afraid of that emotion, then the patient will talk about it. You're the patient. So when I was still blocking in a lot of emotions, I will actually shut my patient down and then go home and go, why did I shut them down? They were about to say something and I changed the topic. What happened there? Why would I shut you down? So if a practitioner isn't willing or hasn't learned how to be comfortable with some emotions, you will shut down your patient. You just won't let them go. But if you're comfortable with it, they'll just go right there. First session, 5 minutes.
Oh, right there. That's what happens with my clients too. Like, first visit, and they're talking to me about their stepfather that abused them. And
which is a huge.
It's just incredible, actually, how, and that's why I like my job.
So as practitioners, the way to become that person, to help, the biggest service you can do is be willing to feel your own emotions, or be willing to be aware of your own emotion, even if you haven't felt them.
And they'll be right shut down. And I'm sitting there crying as I'm looking at their pictures of their family and the horrible stories that go with it. Because I have a lot of people that had parents in the war. So I have had lots of war baby type old people. And I'm sitting there with tears running down my face, and this is so sad. And you can feel it that they have never grieved it.
What a beautiful gift.
Yeah, because it was the war, and that was a luxury that nobody could afford. Everybody was dying. Everybody's dad was dying. Every kid had a loss. It was awful.
That we think that feeling your emotion is an indulgent.
For those children, it was like your mom or whoever was caring for you had enough problems without you being upset.
And we as practitioners,
struggling to eat on top of losing your dad,
And a lot of the work I have to do is argue with them with why that's incorrect. A lot of, depending on your modality, I somehow have this modality of having to argue with them and negotiate with them. That seems to be my gift, and I keep getting stuck in that work. It is it's a huge service to help them change
this one lady had put a huge picture, you know, those old style big-eyed little kids with the big eyes.
Oh yeah.
Those, yeah, huge picture. And it's every time I think about this picture, I cry because it's so emotional. This small child, she's got her arms wrapped around her knees and she's just wearing a little yellow dress.
Oh yeah, that one. Okay.
And that, you know, that one, and she's on a stairway, like a concrete stairway in the night, like it's dark, and the child is so sad. And I knew she bought that because it was her.
Yeah.
I knew it. Like she, and I got her to I would say, what's with this picture? And she talked to me about, oh, that was me. That's how I felt when I was a little girl. And she didn't talk to anybody about this stuff, but I could feel it, you know, all of that emotion. Yeah.
And that's the other beauty, is that when you become more sensitive to your emotion, you can actually feel the emotion in your patient, in your client, and you're willing to name it. You know what's coming. So that's another beautiful service, whether or not they want to feel it or even acknowledge it. One gift you can do as a practitioner is say, I feel this from you. And then they say, I don't know what you're talking about. Okay.
And she was the most judgmental, cruel, anxious, nasty human being you could possibly meet. And most of her caregivers, she drove away.
Yeah.
And she's the one that I had to ask for help with.
Yeah, absolutely. Understand.
Yeah, she was a lot of pain.
Thank you. Thank you, Selena. Brian, what are your experiences in being a caretaker or in being a friend, helping people? Or I know you have a passion for it, Brian, but if you want to share. You're mute. Sorry.
Hi. So yes, I was just thinking about what Selena said there. That's phenomenal, that, you know, the very most mean, horrible person, and, you know, people would just write her off, I'm sure, you know, like can't work with her. And yet just being there, emotionally available and to your own emotions, allowed her to feel comfortable to talk. And I think, so I'm currently at home looking after my 16-year-old daughter. I do work in our family business, but most of the time I'm what I call supplying a container for her to process what she needs to grow up and work through her own emotions, her own suppressed emotions, which a lot of them have come from me, have been passed on. She gets them honestly, genetically, and through the ones that I haven't, or the family hasn't processed.
Absolutely.
And, you know, I could just, you know, with what Selena was saying, you know, my mom's dad was missing for 3 years, and he was being hidden by a German family, and they didn't know, they thought he was dead, and he was never coming back. And then I look at that, and I look like my, you know, the relationship between my parents and my dad, you know, left, and, you know, we didn't know where he was. You know, it just continues on, right? The things, you know, family generational
absolutely
trauma. So basically, you know, I could really identify with what Michael was saying about feeling a lot of anger. And in the work I'm doing with my daughter, I'm constantly going back and working on that. If I'm not able to right at the moment, which sometimes I'm not, then I'm just really making space and following divine truth and giving myself that space and taking that time. And I think they talk about having humility, to really be humble, to have a passion for feeling my emotions as I go, as I'm working from either still working through past things from childhood, or mental illness in my family. So I had mental illness growing up all through my life with a father, and now it's here again. And I've also had I've had depression, and it's now carried over into my daughter. So there's things that, you know, need to be personally worked on, both myself and my daughter.
Absolutely.
So keeping that container, that space for her to work, for me to work, and and, preparing meals, making sure that there's a wake up time, a going to bed time, just keeping that basic, really great container, good nutritious meals as much as possible. And speaking into a listening that something that is at her age is her idea, like not mine. So being able to encourage
Yes.
things that that I know that she hasn't voiced, but I can see that she does have now an interest in healing herself. And when I see that she's doing things that are devastating and damaging, I can just say to her, I know that this isn't in true alignment with what your wishes are. Or I'll say something like that, like just to realign her with where she's going. And I think working myself with control has been a huge part of it. Huge part of it is letting go of control, and in some way allowing her to lead, like allowing her to make the choices. And sometimes, it works out, and sometimes it doesn't, and being okay with that. Being okay with that. Something wonderful that we do every night is a routine where, I know she wants love, and I know she wants to have my company, but it needs to be in a way that really respects her space. And the best way to communicate is physically, as Casey. So we do massage on her feet, and she allows me to do that most evenings, unless she's mad at me, and then she'll just say, no, I don't want them tonight. And that's fine, but that's a real way to demonstrate love with no communication, but lots of communication. So that's something we do. And just, doing a lot of just checking in with her, like watching over her, checking in with her, making sure that she's keeping schedule, getting to school. It seems simple, but it takes a lot. And my hat is off to Michael to have both parents, working with both parents.
Yeah. And what you pointed out there that we will discuss in our next session is it's really, really essential that practitioners work on their addictions.
Yeah.
Huge service. And also reduces how much burnout you experience. In your addiction, you're open to responding to somebody else's addiction, you get really damaged, really burnt out. So that's one way to not see addiction as a judgment, like, oh, I'm in addiction with people that I'm supposed to be helping. Yes, but you're hurting yourself more. It's an act of self-love to kind of go, I got to stop this addiction. I'm hurting myself. Yeah. So that's something we'll try to go into next time for sure. Thank you. And by working on your family dynamics, you really become a very effective practitioner. So I don't believe in the separation of work and family. I don't believe in that. You're always carrying both in both places. You will bring work home. You are taking home to work. So the more cognizant you are in working on issues about your children, your family, your siblings, your relationship with a partner, the more you work on those emotions, the more effective you are as a practitioner. It's incredible. There'll come a time when you just sit down, somebody walks in, and this is what happens a lot to me. They sit down, look at me, and burst out crying. And I go, well, my work's done. Carry on. I just sit there going, keep crying. You got it. It's already coming out of you. I really have nothing to do right now. So that's very, very effective because a lot of work has been done in terms of working on addictions. But that's where the work, it gets pretty scary to work on addictions as a practitioner. Okay, so looking at all of that, what do you see? I mean, looking at what's going on in the healthcare system and looking at how the burden that COVID has placed on healthcare, where you can see, you can see the gaps in a big way, because a lot of people, we don't know about emotions and illness. Some of us really just want somebody to tell us the truth. A lot of people are grateful that somebody told them the truth. It's about your emotions, and I'll work with you on working it out. What a relief to just get that. A lot of people will get upset and say, I just want you to take it away. And it's like, okay, I can give you medicine, it'll buy you time, but you're still gonna end up having to go there and have no expectation either way. So a lot of people would want truth if you could give it to them. So they're putting a heavy demand on the medical system that was designed to respond to people's addictions. We'll make it better. We'll take it away. We'll take away the virus. We'll take away the illness. We'll take away the cancer. The cause hasn't been identified and released, but we'll make it better. So they're meeting in a demand. So what are you seeing happening in the medical system right now? How are they coping? How are they doing? Casey.
It's funny, I was just talking about this with one of my clients like yesterday,
Yeah.
I think. All of my cousins, except for 2 of them, I think, are all nurses.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And what I've noticed is incredible burnout.
Yeah.
So much so, one of my cousins, her dad was dying last year, not COVID related, but he had, I can't remember what type of cancer it was, but he had multiple tumors kind of lacing his spine.
Ooh.
So they knew that it was terminal, and she was trying to care for him and work in a COVID wing at the same time. And then I guess her boss realized what was going on, and he's like, you can't do that. So he actually realized as well her mental health was, she was able to basically participate at work. So he's like, just go take care of your dad. They ended up needing to call in like a nurse at home, I think, because she ended up emotionally not being able to do anything for him either. And so she had a big burnout depression last year. And then every single one of my other cousins, they're all having burnout now. They're all having illnesses, migraines, varying levels of it, physical issues.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're seeing that even healthcare practitioners do not know that the well-being is the emotional well-being. And it's not about soothing or comforting the emotions. It's about being real with the emotions. It is about allowing the expression of the emotions. So we have no room for that because the system is like fast, let's go. So it's not working. And hopefully, if I live long enough, maybe I get to see some parts of recreating a new structure. I don't know. I think it's not even about improving the system. It's just it's done. Just create a new one, in which everyone gets the opportunity to learn about emotional well-being and about emotional release, while getting the medical care and the labs and the testing and the surgeries and the treatments and like do all of that, but put it hand in hand. So the medical system is crashing, and it should. And to me, I feel most for the practitioners most of us have our hearts in the right place, didn't get the right training, and we're dying thinking that it's our fault that we're not doing enough, and which is absolutely not true. So it's a kind of unfair. And patients are upset and projecting a lot of rage at us because they don't know the truth either, and most of them don't want to. Where once you know about that, you can actually say, look, you've got cancers, you got autoimmune disease because you want to stay in denial by emotion. I'm okay with that. Okay, I'll make you comfortable. That's all I can do. I'll make you comfortable. And I'll give you as much opportunity and chances as you can to buy you time until you decide to do it. But it's not on me anymore that you don't want to feel. You're allowed. So once I release that, I start to feel a lot better, because even though I knew it, I would still accept the blame projections coming at me. And it took a while to go, I gotta release that from my own childhood situation. And now I'm at peace that People are allowed to make those choices. I'm allowed to make those choices. I am making those choices where I have some illnesses and pain that I go, ooh, I'd rather be in pain than know the truth about this. Okay, I'm allowed. So go ahead, Selena.
Well, I think it's relevant. It's just bringing to mind, I think we're seeing a lot. I don't know how people manage to work in care homes.
Yeah.
Like,
oh yeah,
residential care, like, because I've had gone to visit in the ones like where people are in lockdown, like with advanced dementia.
Yeah.
And there is no time to make connections with the residents. There's no time for any little personal moment. Like my client was there for a whole year and didn't even have not one connection. Like nobody had spent some time every day with her so that she would even know their name or know who they were or anything, which is obviously she knew me. So that it is something that's achievable with somebody's dementia. It might take a long time. So I would think working in that environment emotionally would be, I could never do it. I couldn't do it. No, I couldn't do it. If I wasn't able to make connections when I felt they were needed, like these people, and now that they're not, haven't been for so long, not having even family contact, what a nightmare. I can't even imagine working there with these people that aren't getting anything. Like they're not even capable of having a Zoom call or anything. They're too far gone.
Yeah.
You know, they need the physical contact.
Yeah, that's right.
They have to have it. Like even talking to somebody with a mask for less than is, can't do it, you know? Yeah.
No.
Yeah. So
and
I just can't even imagine what's happening to all those employees and those like I already saw how numb they have to be.
Yeah.
And I can't even imagine with COVID what that's doing to those people.
Yeah.
Like a lot of they're have not been able to get proper employment. Like when things were really bad at one of our homes here, they were actually calling on family members of the residents to come and help them with some of the maybe cooking and stuff like that. Because with the CERB supplement, people just weren't going to work. Like they just couldn't get people to come, and I can hardly blame them.
Well, and what a loss for all of us that all of these people that are practitioners and are helping are all uniquely gifted, are all have a gift to serve. With just the right environment that fosters it. What unique abilities could come through you? What kind of guides could come through them and help serve and care for the people who give truth and give love and give security and truth? And what a loss. Like it's a huge loss. I just look at the unique gift everyone carry and go, oh my God, what a loss. What do you carry that we could all benefit from?
Like I would go there and like, you know, I was getting so that people wanted me to connect with them, even though I was there for this other lady, and so I was connecting with people because they just needed the connection so badly. And then she'd get jealous and say something really mean, but but it for me is sometimes just overwhelming to be there.
Absolutely,
because the need is so great. Yeah,
absolutely.
Connection. Yeah.
Thank you. Bart, go ahead.
Yeah, with what Selena was saying, the employees and thinking about them, it all starts, I think, from where they've been educated or from the system that they came. My daughter, my older daughter is taking a course at the moment, and she's she wants to be a healthcare practitioner, an RMT. And the pace with which the program is going, I think, from what I understand, I've had a chat with Casey, 3 years has been condensed into 2. And it's the unhealthiest way, I think, to become a practitioner to help people who are ill or in pain.
Absolutely.
Because they come out of it in pain or ill themselves. Yeah. And I went through social work at UBC, and I ended up having miscarriage, and I was completely numb and depression after finishing that degree.
Yeah.
And then I went into the workplace and had another miscarriage. I was in the workplace in social work, working with mentally ill people with mental illness. And again, was still numb and I had another miscarriage. And I haven't been back to the field since, because every time I look into the system about how I would have to operate, the way that I would have to operate would not be satisfactory, doesn't allow for emotional well-being in social services or anywhere that I could think of, other than going into a private practice.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's the loss we're having. We're not creating an environment that fosters your individuality, your nature, and your gift to come forth. And what we're trying to do at Kushna, at my clinic, is we're trying to create an environment in which practitioners are heavily encouraged to, like, what's your thing? Express yourself, because there are amazing gifts we each carry that are unique and needed at our times, and that the people that will only come to you because you're the one with that gift and your own personal experience. You're the person they can connect to, and you can provide that amazing service that changes one's life, like changes the rest of their existence. It's a huge loss. So it's like, as much as, well, the system is created to meet addictions, and we're in the system also to meet our addictions. We think the system will meet our addictions, and then we get pain because addiction causes pain, so that's a good thing. So as we go forward, and some of my passion is how to practice medicine God's way. Not changing the system. Creating a new system is going to be part of that. And having people having a desire to, first, you got to feel the pain. You got to feel, what's it like for me to be a practitioner right now? How terrible it is. Am I numb? Am I happy? Am I satisfied? Am I fulfilled? What's it really costing me to do this job? You got to wake up to the pain you're in. You got to wake up to what demands are coming at you and how unrealistic it is and how much it eats away at you. And also you got to think about, am I even being myself? Am I even expressing my gift? And what does that even mean? So for me, it's like, well, if I'm just switch, and because I got really sick recently, I'm really focusing on switching from meeting demands to expressing gift, to giving a gift. What does that even mean? I need to become even more sensitive that I'm meeting demands and feeling and forgiving the demands coming at me, and then going, what is the gift I wish to give right now? What is it that I have to give? A simple switch may take me 20 years. But it'll be very, very satisfying. And whatever comes through me is going to be probably mind-blowing. Usually when you start to express your gift and you see what it is, you're usually pretty impressed with it. You love what you have. You love that that's the package you got when God created you. And you get to express it while also being aware that you're just sharing a gift you were given. It's not yours. It's not you. You don't get to have the validation and the arrogance about it, which I still have the addictions for. We'll talk about it next time. So step one is to see the medical system for what it is and to let yourself feel the pain and the cost. The social work, the palliative care, and the way we care for family members at home. We got to become aware of just how painful it is, how difficult it is, and what's the true cost. And then let yourself grieve, because only then you will have a desire to want to change yourself and to be willing to, like myself, walk towards pain and go, I haven't even opened up the full extent of the pain I need to own up for myself. It gets worse and worse every month. Why would I keep going? Why would I want to keep going? Give me another addiction. Sure. Show me what else have I done. Sure. Something big is driving me to keep walking into the pain. There's some truth you realize, some changes inside of you, some changes you see in your patients that is driving me in such a strong way, whatever the consequence. Wow. Okay, thank you for contributing ideas for today. And then next week, we're going to talk about what will it take to switch from living in demand and addictions and the repercussion to switching to gifting. What is that? What is that step? What do you have to go into Next, what is that transition like? Which means we're going to talk about emotional addictions. Okay. You could, if you want, you can ask your guides to actually give you an addiction you currently have with your clients, with your patients that you're working on, or a brand new one you haven't looked at, and let that come into awareness, and then see what you start to learn about it to contribute to the discussion. For burn, you're already challenging your addiction for control. Good on you. It's a big one. So carry on. I'm saying, man, you get that figured out, whew, your life's gonna be good. I chip away at it every now and then, and then I go away and then chip away at it again. And so, yeah, it's a big one. All right. Any questions or comments? Oh, okay. Okay.